Because if they go against that marital counseling and they go ahead to marry each other, there is every tendency that they will produce at least one SS. That is 25% of their offspring may be SS. If, on the other hand, they may be so fortunate to have the first baby to be SS, the second baby to be SS, the third baby to be SS. And that SS offspring is what the Yoruba people call Inawo Ebi. Inawo Ebi in the sense that they will keep on having reoccurrence.
You are welcome to the platform. My name is Oluwalo Sheyi Da Silva. I'm the anchor for this program. The next 30 minutes to 1 hour, I'll be taking you through our guests. The platform treats issues on economy, commerce, politics, religion, international relations and diplomacy, and all issues about human endeavor. And with me on today's program is...
Thank you very much. My name is Professor Adaramaja, Professor of Health Education, University of Learning, but currently the Executive Chairman, Kwara State Universal Basic Education Board.
All right, sir. What is your take on sickle cell?
Well, sickle cell anemia or sickle cell disorder is real. It's an hereditary disease that can be transmitted from the mother to the offspring or from the father to the offspring. It is a non-communicable disease. It is a disease that can be cured if proper preventive measure is taken.
So what are the preventive measures?
Thank you. Sickle cell anemia is a disease that occurs as a result of disorders of the genes. What do I mean? For sickle cell disease to come up, an individual must have received a defective gene from the mother and a defective gene from the father in terms of genotype. Every individual has a genotype. It's either AA, either you are AA, AS, or SS. For an individual, during copulation, meeting of male and female, the mother will have to donate one of the gene. It may be A from the mother. The father will also donate another one from the opposite sex. It may be A too. If A and A is donated, it means that the offspring will have AA. That offspring will live a normal life. The only disease of that individual will be malaria, because malaria will always be their problem. But for an individual who inherits A from the mother and S from the mother, it has a tendency of having AS. The AS, it will also live a normal life, but the only thing is that in future, that individual must not marry AS, or else they will give back to SS. But if the mother is AS and the father is AS, and the mother donates S, the father also donates S genotype, it means that the two S will meet. When the two S match together, that is sickle cell. And what is that sickle cell? A normal cell is like an oval shape, that's like egg shape. And for sickle, the shell appears like sickle, that type of sickle that used to cut grass in the traditional setting. grasses and other things for animals to eat. So that is a malformation of the cell, and that malformation of the cell is what was regarded as sickle cell anemia, because the end result is crisis upon crisis. Anemia has to do with the blood. Disease that has to do with blood. So when you have sickle cell anemia, you are likely to have shortage of blood, crisis will have to do with blood and other things, pains all over the body, etc., etc. And the only preventive measure for this is counseling. Counseling is counseling. Counseling in the sense that before A and B marry themselves, it is become on them to ask for their genotype. If the genotype for the female is AS and the genotype for the male couple is also AS, it is always advisable to say the two must not marry, because if they go against that marital counseling and they go ahead to marry each other, there is every tendency that they will produce at least one SS. That is 25% of their offspring may be SS. If, on the other hand, they may be so fortunate to have the first baby to be SS, the second baby to be SS, the third baby to be SS, and that SS offspring is what the Yoruba people call Inawo Ebi. Inawo Ebi in the sense that they will keep on having reoccurrence of this illness upon illness for the rest of their life. And you see, to manage a sickle cell individual, it requires capital intensive. It's capital intensive because you have to cater for drugs, you have to cater for hospital bills, you have to do some other. It comes with an emotional disturbance, because whenever there is crisis, the whole family will not be together again. You'll be running from one pole to another just because of an individual. And some families are so fortunate that they have 2 or 3 of this type of sickle cell in their family. When it happens, it becomes serious burden, emotional, economic, physical. It disturbs every aspect of the family. And the only thing to this is just for them. Like I said, the only preventive measure is proper marital counseling. If you have a genotype of AS and your UB partner is also AS, it's always advisable to go on your own way. There is no love. When you say love is blind, the resultant of love is blind. It's this type of SS that will not allow you to have rest of mind.
Okay, let's assume love is blind, and the two lovers eventually get married and they are having SS children. How do they manage it? Yes,
there is this what called stem what we call prenatal genotypic test. You see, what does that imply? If eventually they force themselves to marry, let me use the word force themselves to marry. That is, force themselves to marry means go against counseling, whether by the church, the mosque, or tradition. They say don't marry themselves. They say, I have to marry because we have loved ourselves. Yes. Yeah, the first thing for them is that, one, they will be monitoring when and how the woman will get pregnant. The moment the woman conceives, after a few weeks of conception, the next thing is to conduct what we call genotypic test. And if the child in the womb is detected to have SS, they will take the DNA of the child in the womb, in the placenta, and carry it to the lab, test it. If the child in the womb has SS genotype, the best bet for them is to abort the pregnancy. abort the parent. Otherwise, if that child is born, it will become the SS individual, and of course it will become in now way that I've just described. The other way to read is that, okay, now let's say the first conception is SS, abortion. The second one, SS, abortion. The third one, SS, abortion. Let us see the pains and agony and even the economic implications of going into several abortions before you get one baby is too enormous. As against simple counseling, adherence to simple counseling. If the counselor says don't marry, yes, there are so many girls outside, there are so many men outside. Why can't you just say, okay, I've listened to this one, let me go and do this one? So that is number one. To the other one is that, yes, we have decided to marry, and we have married, we conceived. Then we get back to the baby. The baby is SS. Then you should be ready to do what we call surgery all the time, because each time there is crisis, you want to, there's research has advanced, medical research has advanced to the extent that you can transform, you can remove the whole blood vessels in the body and even replace. So, and going through that kind of surgery, it's not done around this around us here. You have to travel to maybe India, maybe to US, or maybe to where their medical research or medical laboratories are advanced. So to travel to that part of the country, or to travel to that countries of the world, it becomes so capital intensive. How many people can sustain that? How many people? It is always very difficult. The only thing, like I said, is to go by marital counseling. Don't marry, don't marry. If you go there to marry, then it becomes problem. Even after this surgery and another thing, they will prescribe some nutrition diet. Don't eat this food, don't eat this food. The moment you go and eat that kind of food, you have crisis. You have crisis. There is no going back on it. So, and the type of food that we recommend that you should not eat are those ones that are available around us here. Don't eat our carbohydrates. Don't eat this type of food. Don't eat this one. We can't sustain them, because the type of food they will ask you to eat, there are those ones that you cannot get around us. Even if you can get them, they are very expensive. So why do we want to go into something that will trouble the mind? Why do you want to go to something that will cause so many headache, so many financial implications for you? Okay. It is always advisable. The type of the medical research nowadays has gone beyond even waiting to the time of marriage. You can now determine the genotype of your children as even as early as 6 months now. Let them know their genotype. Let them know if it's AA, then you tell them and say, you are AA. The only person you can marry is, if you are AA, you can marry SSS. You can marry AS if you are AA. But if you are AS, you cannot marry SS, and you cannot marry AS. You have to guide them. You have to do what you call from the home front. Okay. So these are things that we need. Maybe I'll go through it again. That if you are AA can only marry AS. Are you okay? Yeah. AA can marry SS, so that they keep on producing AS. But AS cannot marry AS, and at the same time they cannot marry SS. If AS marry SS, they would, more than 75% of their offspring will be SS. More than 75% of their children offspring will be SS. And who among us in Nigeria, even no matter how wealthy, how buoyant, how your status, can keep individuals like that? You can't keep them. Look at Adaramaja. They are suffering now. So these things come without going. It comes with problems. It comes with so many things that you cannot be unbearable things that you have to call yourself and say, why did I venture into this type of thing? Like I said, the only preventive measure against this sickle cell anemia is awareness and obedience to marriage counseling, marital counseling.
So on the average, what is the life expectancy for a person living with sickle cell anemia?
Well, some of them can survive. They can survive up to 25 or 21 years. Some can even more than that. But you hardly see them. You see them very tiny. Their discretion is always tiny because each time they have crisis, it goes with so many things. Nutrients gone away, blood gone away, so many other things gone away.
So it is feasible on them?
Yes, it's feasible. You can see them.
Okay, thank you, Prof.
But sickle cell anemia is not an infectious disease.
Okay.
But it can be transmitted from one parent to the children.
Okay. But what happens if the father's gene is dominant?
Okay, if the father's gene is dominant, and what is the father's gene?
Maybe AS.
The father's gene is AS.
And
the mother's
gene is AS.
SS. Abi?
Okay, yes, SS.
Okay, let's say the father's gene is AS, the mother's gene is AS too. There is no how. You see, for an individual for you to give birth to an individual, the two of them must donate. They must donate at least one of the gene. So let's say the one that you say is dominant. The father gene is dominant and the father is AS. He dominates A for the first time. The mother will dominate S. The second one is also dominant. He dominates A. The mother also dominates S. The third time is still dominant. He dominates A. The mother dominates S. But by chance, the man will continue to weak. He becomes weak. At the early age, is strong, very strong. You see, the chest is busted and everything. But at times, when you go into another population, if eventually dominate S comes from the mother and father, the mother will match it up with S. Now, that is the wala. That is the nowhere B that we are saying. The best bet is that if you want to marry, if you are AA, you can marry AA of your type. There won't be any problem. If you are AA, you can marry AS and still live happy life. But one of your kids or two may be AS. Then you have to follow, as a parent, it is beckon on you to follow up with the one with AS to give them appropriate marital counseling so that they will not go and marry AS, or else you will be grandfather and your grandchild or grandchildren will be sickler. But if you have to follow the train of that genetic transmission along that line, by the time you want your grandchild want to get married, you have to advise that person with AS not to marry AS. If not, the crisis will occur, and grandpa will be called to come and answer questions.
All right, thank you, sir.
guitarra y la mano.